Hello guys and welcome to Daily Updates. The following video is an addition to the one that was done yesterday covering the alleged implication of Floyd Shivambu in the murder of Hillary Gadi. If you remember the story well, there was actually the three accused who wrote to IPID saying that they were tortured in order to include or implicate Floyd Shivambu in the murder of Hillary Gadi. The story follows. A newspaper by the name of Sunday Independent has done an article about the story of Floyd Shivambu and Bheki Cele. In their story they say Police Minister Bheki Cele allegedly persuaded police in Mpumalanga to make sure that EFF Deputy President Floyd Shivambu was implicated in the murder of Hillary Gadi in order to settle a personal score with the Red Beret leader. The feud between Floyd Shivambu and Bheki Cele dates back to November 2018. That is when Floyd Shivambu uncovered an attempt to assassinate his life by one of the high-ranks politicians in the ANC. Now, Floyd Shivambu, after uncovering this, wrote a letter to the then General Cele saying that I write to officially inform you of a life threat that has been brought to my attention. I have it on good authority that assassins were hired to kill me and that they have been following me for some time now, mostly when I am in Johannesburg. This was a letter written to Cele by Floyd Shivambu after uncovering the whole problem. And the issue between him and Bheki Cele is that they actually written this and then they wanted to alert Bheki Cele about the incident, and he did not follow up the whole story. That is what Sunday Independent is alleging. Now, the story of Inkabi is that Floyd Shivambu actually uncovered this whole mystery of assassination, and after uncovering it, he wanted to alert Cele. And there were Inkabis that were coming from KZN to Johannesburg to assassinate Floyd Shivambu, then go back. Now, he had a meeting with one of the advisors of President Cyril Ramaphosa. That is when the Inkabis, when they came, they found him with this advisor. And after noticing that he is not alone, they didn't want to take this plan of assassinating him because it was going to be a whole big story in South Africa where a politician has been assassinated. Then, to cover that story, they had to alert the advisor that stop going to a meeting with Floyd Shivambu because there is a plan of assassinating his life, or there is a plan that we are undertaking. That is when the advisor decided to alert Floyd Shivambu that you are actually in trouble because it seems like they want to kill you. And from that point, Floyd Shivambu decided to be on high alert because his life was in danger. And now it shows how the whole story of Bheki Cele and Floyd Shivambu, of how they are alleging that Bheki Cele could be one of the people who tried to persuade the story of Floyd Shivambu being in the murder of Hillary Gadi. If you look at it, Cele in his affidavit to the directorate claims he told police he couldn't implicate Shivambu because he hadn't spoken to him in 5 years. How do Cele and Floyd Shivambu relate? Floyd Shivambu knows Cele because they both went to vets and they actually know each other, but not on a very deep friendly side. But otherwise, he's not new to Floyd Shivambu. This is Cele, as you can see, and Floyd. So these are the three people who have been accused so far, and it leaves a bitter taste if a whole high rank in the ANC would then attempt to assassinate Floyd Shivambu. And if it didn't work, and actually someone who's closer to the story decided to call the Sunday Independent and tell them the whole story, if it didn't work, now the issue of them going and trying to say, well, we couldn't assassinate him because he found out. How about we put him in the whole murder of Hillary Gadi? At the moment, there is no truth to the story. They are just alleging. But one can just look at the story and say, if indeed it's true, it means that we are living in a state that is like a mafia state. because a young woman died. And Floyd actually, when interviewed, he said that the ANC is trying to shift the whole, or to use the whole gender-based violence to settle personal scores. Because here we lost a young woman. Instead of focusing on arresting the people, now we are talking about, well, Floyd might be involved. It now creates a whole problem where we end up having a case that is never solved because people are coming up with stories. We know politics is a very dangerous game. If you are a politician, you have enemies. You can just look at KZN. They are killing each other every month related to politics. And when politicians start killing each other, it's either they are fighting for positions, or it's either one knows some secrets that he shouldn't know. And in this case, if indeed Floyd Shivambu knows a whole lot of corruption stories and they are trying to silence him, it raises eyebrows because we are not safe. And it raises eyebrows because what happens in future when the ruling party is no longer a ruling party? Are we going to see a smooth transition of power, or we are going to see people trying to say, well, we are killing you because you have this and this on me, or we are not going to give you power because maybe fraudulence or whatever, as we have seen in the past where they can lose a ballot box. Now, it gives us an impression that South Africa is not really a free country because they can do whatever they like about you. And the fact that they are taking a whole gender-based violence to just settle personal scores, it's going to be very interesting because gender-based violence is a very serious issue in South Africa. And if now people are going to be settling personal scores, then what do we have as a country? Politicians going after each other. And I must say, on the story, it's alleged. Before I get into trouble, you know how these people are. They are alleging that the feud between Floyd and Bheki Cele is dating back to the involvement of 2018 November, where Floyd knows some stories. He actually went to Parliament while debating the State of the Nation address, saying that there are politicians who are trying to silence them, knowing very well that they know some secrets about them. So they are trying to come up with means to silence them. Now, we are living in South Africa. It's called a free democracy. And you find things like this. Where are we going to go as a country when the whole rot, the whole corruption we are seeing in this country? Are people ever going to come out and say, well, I know this story, I know this person did that, and I want to uncover their whole mess? You are going to die before you even say a word. Remember, there was a lady who died last year trying to uncover a whole corruption. They killed her in her garage. She was about to go out and they killed her. So who are you as a person to try and say, I'm going to fix this whole country. I'm going to uncover the mess that this one done. They're going to end up killing you. And it's a whole issue because as long as we don't solve the problem we have of corruption in the country, no one is safe. How do you report someone who's enjoying his life, who can just go on a cruise, an expensive cruise? How do you then go and report them? Because at the end of the day, you are taking their meal, which is the meal of corruption. And I do hope that wherever Floyd is, he's safe. And the whole story, I do hope that there's nothing truth to it. Because we cannot allow a country where people are being implicated in order to settle personal scores. It must be a shame. We have seen this in those countries where there is no law at all. What happens when we see them in South Africa? It becomes a lawless country. Already it seems like it is because people are doing as they like. But when you have high-ranked politicians doing it, you must just forget about freedom in this country. Because next time they will be doing corruption, and if you speak, whether you are a politician or just a normal person, they are going to execute you. Anyway, guys, thank you for tuning into the channel and watching the video. Until next time. Cheers.
So you see in these other organizations, in the former liberation movement, whenever there's a budget, whenever there's a program that they want to deliver, the question they ask themselves is, how do we make money as individuals? out of that project. But in the EFF, what we ask ourselves is, how do the people benefit from this budget, from this program? That is the essence of the EFF.